every courtroom is recorded. Anyway, I'll just repeat what I know, what I said in court, but it might not be in the order that I'm saying it. Just for the my YouTube channel, and just so then you can get the feel of how serious the predicament it is and has been for anyone like myself pursuing court or pursuing justice in court against the Crown or against other parties. So what actually happened was, first of all, I addressed the memo. I said that the council's memos weren't true, and I said that they were served as as City Med and Ministry of Health, although the individuals, they were the first application that I did, and on the 4th of July 2016 I drafted out the actual application or the actual notice of proceeding or the civil case, and I had actually named each party or each defendant individually, but I'd also put care of Ministry of Health or care of City Med. So that's why I had this feeling that the judge hadn't read everything, because I had made submission to cover all that and documentations just to prove to the court that I did that, that they should know that the councils, what they were actually saying and denying having anything to the case, was not true. In the actual hearing on that day, I said to the judge, "Sir, both councils had both operated outside of their scope." I said that one of the hearings that I had before Judge Gordon, Council Hannah Stewart didn't even know that her client was a occupational therapist. On his website, he was actually a sports medicine doctor. That's it's another description of his occupation. She didn't even know that her client didn't even qualify to write anything about my mental health. Plus, I didn't even know what he looked like. I had never met him. I didn't have a one-on-one consultation with him. And, he was the reason why I was at that time medically terminated. Then I referred quickly to the Ministry of Health, and I said, "Sir, Ministry of Health, they too were served, but at that hearing too there was a discovery that Council Paul White here openly said in court that his clients were nurses, so they too were disqualified, and they shouldn't have written a mental health or even assessed me as a mental health patient. At that time they were actually nurses. I didn't know that until that actual hearing, that they were actually nurses. That was the discovery that was made at the hearing. But I was sort of like going in there really full blast, because I didn't want because once the judge says that's enough, stop talking, that was the end of that. So I was basically just focusing on the key elements of the case, and I haven't heard myself talk about it, but after months and months and months of putting energy into my court case, and then I really literally did feel like I was fighting for my life. And I said, "Sir, I'm actually fighting for my life," because I didn't like where the case was heading or going, because I'd put in in my application that I was pregnant. And I said, "Sir, but I'm pregnant." I said, the Ministry of Health or the nurses or the doctors at the hospitals, they've all denied me, they've all lied to me and told me I'm not pregnant and I need an emergency care. But yeah, I recall saying that in there. That is what I said in there. I was very stressed, even just hearing myself say it. I was quite traumatized as even listen to those words come out. And That is the words that I heard on the train on my way home after the court case. And then, you know, at the security, when I went to go pick up something from security, and then, you know, them laughing at me and focusing on body parts. I caught the train and there was all these other things going on. I just tried to ignore it. But then when I went to go on the train, and then these young girls that sat in front of me mockingly said, "Oh, but I'm pregnant." Yeah, so that's what happened on my way home. But I was already like upset because after that emotional, it just triggered something in me. I felt totally emotionally just traumatized is the word. And I felt myself. I know I said in the first clip that I wasn't confused. What I meant by that is I wasn't confused in the sense of what I was supposed to be doing, like as far as all the normal things, I wasn't confused. But there was a point of time that I got on my way home. I got into a shock because I was traumatized, and I realized how really serious my situation was, and trying to make these strangers believe me over all the lies that these people have written about me, because you know the mental health assessments have written about me was all intentional to ruin my reputation so that no one would believe me. These are the kind of things that the public are abusing me or ridiculing me about as if I'm crazy, just because they use the Mental Health Act. And then we've got, you know, me trying to clear the judgments, you know, the unlawful judgments that the judges have made because of my employer and these doctors and what they did to me. Like I said in the last video, I got into a really not good space. I got into a shock. It was so bad for me that I can't explain it. It was dangerous. I was furious. I wasn't confused. I was angry. I was furious at the lies and the continuous sabotage. What actually happened at that court, I basically begged for my life. What happened to me after the court case on the 22nd of February, it was definitely a suicidal pact. Somebody repeated what I said in the court hearing, and it was only the judge and Hannah Stewart in the court and the registrar. And just in that moment of time, I went on the train. I was upset with the lies, and then to go out and they laughed at me. So this whole game is that they're trying to convince the public that I'm mentally insane. And I was furious at, you know, how dare they, you know, here are these people we look up to, because that's how I look at authority, in respect. You know, you honor them, you expect them to, you know, honesty, integrity. I was in a very, very dangerous mindset. I had to ring up one of my sisters, and I was able to like express and vent on her what actually happened. I was really angry. I just lost it. You know, I was really, really angry with the Crown, really angry with the council, really angry with the court system, and even just to walk away from there, you know, not in a good mindset, you know, really let down by the system. But anyhow, after speaking to my sister, and then, you know, I just went home, and it took me like a good couple of days for me to actually just to get myself back into it again, because I just was fighting. I felt myself fighting a very dark spiritual warfare that was very dangerous, that if I stayed there long enough, it's not safe place. I, you know, got myself out of it. I got over it, but then later on, I think maybe a day or so, I caught up with my sister, and I just quietly said to her, "Oh, hey, thanks for being there for me." I said there was just that spare moment of time that I could have just jumped in front of a train. I'm still really angry with what they've done to me and what they are still doing to me, and I just feel that I need to tell my story, because that is disgusting for a court system, for a government system, to do what they've done to me. It is definitely a suicidal pact. And I just thought I'd tell my story, because this game involves them playing mind games. It involves these immature adults who act like children playing mind games. And they're so professional at it that they do get in your mind, and they try and confuse you, and then the public like indirectly do their crap when you go out. I'm telling my story as it is, because you're not losing your mind if you're going through it. It is called a suicidal pact. When you feel that they're always knocking you down, or they're rejecting you, or they're making you feel like you're not good enough. So you've just got to, like, you know, get yourself out of it, like I have. And I've been through a lot in life, and I've just learned to get myself out of really dangerous situation mentally, and I usually do, and I do not have a mental health issue or anything like that. My problem is the cyberbullying. What's been happening to me, it is it's the most serious and the most evil system ever. But I can understand why the suicidal rate is high. It is because of the system. You got to keep in mind that the system is a technology system now. So all it takes is for them to study you, study your personality, and then they build an illusion. They're actually animating. They go to the point of actually animating and diverting and trying to, like, kill your confidence, because that's what they've done. They've tried to kill my confidence over the years, and publicly they've, you know, portrayed me as a monster, or portrayed me like I'm the devil, when in reality, in hindsight, in my private space, I'm not doing anything wrong other than trying to get justice and sticking up for myself. I'm not going out there to be annoying on anyone. I'm not the one in another person's personal space being annoying, breaking the law, being nosy. It's them. They're in my space doing what they're doing and doing their sound effects and their ecosystem crap, but they have put me through so much, it's not funny. Mental anguish is part of it. In fact, you got to go through it. It's part of healing. I've dealt with mental anguish by, you know, mental anguish didn't really hit me until I lost my job, and then I went through it. And I've struggled with, you know, my anger as far as like swearing, and then, you know, just little things would just tick me off. And I've never sworn so much in my life, but that's how I've dealt with it. Other people deal with it by, you know, drinking and going on drugs and getting drunk and getting hooked and addicted to stuff like that. But mine, I've just let nature takes its course, and I've had to deal with mental anguish as far as, you know, like, you know, I'll say how I feel, and sometimes I've publicly reacted to the abuse because the abuse is so severe. It is organized crime, but it is a suicidal pact. I told the judge at that hearing, I said, sir, things are really bad for me. They're victimizing me. So what actually happened when I walked out of that courtroom, that is what they did. They victimized me.